memorable day for me in my life. And a big, big congratulations to all the young students, both present and in absence, for your wonderful achievements. Honorable Professor Dr. Shivaji Rao Kadam, Chancellor of Bharati Vidyapeeth, Honorable Dr. Bhusham Patwardhanji, guest of honor, but to me, somebody who's contributed to education all his life, and I'm frankly quite worried and embarrassed that I have to speak after him. And he's given us such a lot of food for thought for all of us in this room. My good friend, my brother, and our young Minister of Maharashtra, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vishwajit Kadam, an illustrious son of an illustrious father, Honorable Dr. Manikrao Saludke, Vice Chancellor, Honorable Shri G. Jaykumar, Registrar, Honorable Controller of Examinations, the Deans of various faculties, all the faculty members, and I am told that over the wide span of over 200 institutions, you have over 10,000 teachers and faculty members. That's truly remarkable, and my salute to Bharati Vidyapeeth for keeping a very good student-teacher ratio also, which is somehow over the years got lost in the horde of trying to get numbers of students without a good focus on faculty. So really, you are the purpose for the success of this very, very prestigious institution. And I think, of course, most students recognize it. But my own experience is we remember you and recognize your contribution after we leave the college or school and we go into the real world. So really, really a big appreciation for your contribution to making our lives and each one of the students here's lives meaningful and purposeful. Thank you to all the faculty members. The Board of Management and Academic Council of Bharati Vidyapeeth, all the dignitaries present here, parents, proud parents who are seeing their awards get their diplomas and degrees, all the young students who are graduating today, heartiest congratulations once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly been a wonderful experience visiting Bharati Vidyapeeth today. I started by visiting the museum and the library with a rare collection of very, very unique books. And I was reminded of Dr. Kadam. Of course, as Vishwajit rightly said, he was very close to my family. My mother would look up to him like a younger brother. They were fond of each other, as he said. But most importantly, Dr. Kadam was a very vibrant personality, always wanting to do more, always desirous of experimenting with new ideas, new thoughts, and today getting a flavor of the work that he has done across India and now across the oceans with institutes coming up in other countries. I can realize that that fire in his belly came at a very young age when he was a student himself, starting such a movement, if I can call it that, at the ripe young age of 19 is reflective of his spirit of entrepreneurship and his desire to give back to society, which must have started at a very young age. And in that, my own experience is that your early childhood, in a way, shapes the person you will be. And I believe the struggles of Dr. Kadam's childhood the difficult circumstances in which he was born and brought up, including the essential thing like water not being available for the farming or for even their drinking water needs, must have truly had a very lasting impression on that young boy traveling long distances to go to primary school or get educated, coming to Pune with 7 rupees in his pocket, learning while he was earning to make 2 ends meet, must have been a very defining moment in his career. My salutations and homage to Dr. Patangrao Kadam. He's truly a luminary towards whom we all look up to, and I'm sure in the years to come, every student who comes out of Bharati Vidyapeeth and the various other associated schools, colleges, will certainly take back some of his teachings, some of what we heard in earlier speeches, in the Chancellor's guidance to the students, in the song that was sung, the university's anthem, all of them reflecting social transformation through dynamic education, something which he articulated as the motto of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth. Today is also Buddha Purnima. My warmest greetings to all of you and to the nation on this very auspicious occasion. And I have no doubt in my mind that the teachings of Lord Buddha will guide this nation, will help all of us in our lives to uphold the principles that we have learned at the hallowed precincts of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, but also our cultural heritage, our tradition, the value systems that every Indian grows up with, and we will be good citizens of this country as we embark on our journey of life. I was really impressed when I saw the wide array of subjects that are taught at the university. This span covering medical education, engineering, architecture, law, management, Ayush, the traditional medicines, classical arts, music, and so many more, are all contributing to the making of a developed India, to the making of a prosperous India. And I'm sure the high quality of education that each one of you have received will help this nation in its journey of growth and its journey of prosperity. In fact, I like particularly the focus on research and their desire to generate the spirit of inquiry amongst all their students. I think it is that spirit of inquiry, that inquisitiveness, which will help many of you become entrepreneurs, many of you becoming researchers and contributing to a new future for this nation. In fact, I'm sure many students now must be deliberating on what to do now. Where do you go from here? And therefore, I must talk about the Startup India movement that India today is proud to host. We are the world's 3rd largest startup ecosystem today. We have over 100 unicorns, reflecting a value of over $1 billion each, collectively valued at about $500 billion. Many successful ideas which have taken shape, which have brought ease of doing business, ease of living for our citizens. And therefore, I would like to delve a little more on what opportunities come up from the way the world is changing. In fact, COVID was a challenge before the world, before India. I compliment Bharati Vidyapeeth for all your contributions during the COVID pandemic. I compliment you for the recognition that you received both from the Indian Army and from the Health Ministry at the center for the good work that was done by your doctors, by your medical institutions, and for the support you gave to Zydus in developing the first DNA vaccine in India. But COVID also opened our mind to new opportunities. India as a nation was able to convert this crisis into an opportunity. Digital education came into being in a big way, and online classes, online studies continued through the COVID period, continued to impart high quality education, continued to take care of the literacy needs of this country. And therefore, when we talk of starting new ideas or innovation or experimenting with new thoughts, what are we trying to suggest? Basically, these are solutions to day-to-day problems that we witness in our lives. This morning, before I came here, 3 young boys, very, very young boys, must have been in their teens or early 20s, met me in Pune. And they were talking to me about patenting their technology that they have developed. And their idea was really simple, very elementary. But after all, they thought of it. None of us did. They recognized that the high beam that is shown by trucks, buses, I think now the politicians' cars have stopped beaming that big light after we removed the beacon from their cars and got them into driving as ordinary citizens. But this high beam that was being flashed on highways was a source of a large number of accidents. And this young team has developed a technology by which if your high beam is on, sometimes you don't recognize it, you don't realize it. After a certain amount of time, you'll get a signal. After a certain amount of time, you'll get an alarm. And in that way, it keeps highlighting that your high beam needs to be brought down. It's really not required. It doesn't add to your driving pleasure or convenience at all. But as do many things in this country, चलता है और चलते चलते देश का कितना नुकसान करता है ये हमारे किसी के ध्यान में नहीं आता और इसीलिए जो अगली पीढ़ी है जो आप सब हैं आपके पास एक नया वेपन है एक नया औजार है एक तरीके से जो आपको मौके देता है कि रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में जो समस्याएं देशवासियों को आती हैं हम सबको भी आती हैं उसके नए रास्ते खोजने का उनको आसान करने का समस्याओं का निदान करने का उनका तरीका ढूंढना कैसे एक अफोर्डेबल तरीके से कम खर्चे पे हम लोगों का जीवन सरल कर सके व्यापार सरल कर सके और पूरी दुनिया में हमारे नई सोच को प्रचारित कर सकते हैं मुझे क्योंकि ट्रक की बात आती है तो एक और स्टार्टअप ध्यान में आता है और मैं ये उदाहरण इसलिए दे रहा हूं कि उदाहरण से कई बार विषय समझना आसान हो जाता है as they do at the Harvard Business School the case study model case studies what do they help you relate to similar situations that others before you have faced and how they navigated the problem, how they came up with solutions, how they addressed the challenges before them. I think many of us are aware that truck drivers have a very, very painful occupation. Suppose a truck starts from Punjab and it's traveling all the way to Kanyakumari. It's, of course, now with the highways and superways getting much better, we are able to move goods much faster. GST has also removed a lot of the paperwork and the checkposts across each border, which have helped goods move much faster. But still, it's an arduous journey of many days. The driver runs the vehicle through the day, sometimes through the night. He cooks below the truck or at the side of the truck, also a safety hazard. He sleeps very often, given the weather conditions, under the truck because the truck is laden with goods. Very often that leads to alcoholism, other social evils. But nobody thought of a solution how to change their lives. At best, people would think of having dhabas or rest houses along the journey so that they can get a square meal on the way or they can get some rest on the way. There's this young team of boys and girls, probably Delhi-based, who came up with a very, very elementary solution to this problem. I suspect it's now become a unicorn, probably called Rivego. If I'm not mistaken, somebody can Google and check it out. What they did is, they calculated how much a driver can drive safely, how many hours, how many kilometers, and develop pit stops through various traditional routes where goods would travel. Something like the Formula One racing cars or something, where you have pit stops after every few rounds, where you rejuvenate your vehicle and your driver. What they did is, at these pit stops, a driver would drive from Delhi, let's say, from Punjab, let's say, to Jaipur, and he would leave the truck over there. Another driver would pick up the truck at Jaipur and take it maybe to the next leg of the journey until Mumbai or wherever, leave the vehicle there, and a third driver would take it further. And in the meantime, the first driver would go back from Jaipur, back to his home, reach there by night, have family time, spend time with his kids, eat a wholesome meal at home, for which he could hitch a hike or a ride with any of the trucks that's doing the return journey, which would have also stopped at that pit stop. The driver would have gone back to Ahmedabad, and possibly another driver who was driving to Punjab would take over, or if you refine that model further, you could have the first driver, having been rested here, drive back to Punjab, another leg of the journey, on another truck. Now, it's an elementary idea. Sounds so simple today. But when they thought of it many years ago, they certainly faced challenges in implementing it. They must have had difficulties in selling the idea. But think about it, my young boys and girls, friends. This is what the world today is all about. What they are, the doors are open to new ideas, to entrepreneurship. Education at a prestigious university like Bharati Vidyapeeth jogs your memory. It opens your mind to think differently, out of the box. Don't go down the beaten path. Not that we don't want you to get good jobs or become government officials or government employees, but don't necessarily look at that safety and the comfort of a cozy job only. Experiment with life. This is the age. Maybe many years later you may not get the same enthusiasm or ability to take chances. Today, each one of you can afford to fail. And every failure is only a stepping stone to success. And I would urge many of the 8,000 students who are graduating today, or the 3,000 plus who have assembled at this prestigious 23rd Convocation, to look around you. Opportunities are waiting for each one of us. Whether it's sustainability, whether it's the challenge of climate change, whether it's the need to take water to every home in the country. Incidentally, we are fast progressing on the Jal Jeevan mission, which will take clean water to every home in the country through a tap, Nal Se Jal. And it pains me that what Dr. Patangrao Kadam had to go through in his young days in the 50s and 60s continued until the 21st century and until now. It pains me that somehow governments came and went. Nobody thought that our women, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters deserve a life of dignity, a life of respect. We did not even have a toilet in every home until a few years ago. Very often when I have to speak to young children and they ask me, what is the biggest achievement over the last 8 years that you've been in government? We have launched Atmanirbhar Bharat. We've taken space mission in India to the next level. We are promoting growth. We are promoting industry. We are promoting exports, healthcare, and so many other things. Digital technologies going to each village. But you know what I feel most happy about? Not so much as an achievement, but as a debt of gratitude to our mothers and sisters and daughters, as an elementary courtesy to the women of India, is the fact that we built 120 million toilets in every home in this country. एक इज्जत घर सामाजिक जीवन, पारिवारिक जीवन को बदल सकता है. आखिर हिंदी पिक्चरों में तो बहुत दिखाया करते थे कि गाना गाते हुए सूर्योदय होने के पहले हमारी माता बहनें शौच के लिए जा रही हैं. लेकिन दुर्भाग्य ये है कि किसी ने कभी सोचा नहीं कि इस समस्या को खत्म करने की आवश्यकता है. मुझे याद है जब बिजली मंत्री बना था 2014 में, तब जब असेस किया तो ध्यान आया कि 3 करोड़ से अधिक घरों में बिजली नहीं पहुंची थी. हम में से अधिक लोग बहुत प्रिविलेज्ड हैं. हमें शायद समझ नहीं आता है, हमें ध्यान नहीं आता है कि बिना बिजली के जीवन बिताना कितना मुश्किल है. परंतु 3 करोड़ घर यानी 6, 7, 8 करोड़ बच्चे, उनका जीवन क्या होगा? हो सकता है उनके परिवार में किसको मौका नहीं मिला मुंबई, पुणे आने का, नागपुर, दिल्ली जाने का, जिसके कारण वो शायद दुनिया देख सके. जैसा अभी प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर गोखले ने कहा कि आज तो विदेश भी नहीं जाना पड़ता है. बच्चा पलक्कड़ में आके दुनिया देख सकता है, नई चीज़ों का अनुभव भी कर सकता है. वैसे तो आप घर बैठे आज इंटरनेट के माध्यम से, टीवी के माध्यम से पूरी दुनिया में क्या प्रगति हुई है उसका अनुभव करते हैं. अब हम सबका दायित्व है, जिनको मौका मिला है, जिनको ये अच्छी शिक्षा मिली है, जिनके लिए ईश्वर ने शायद वरदान दिया है कि हमको एक अच्छा भविष्य के लिए रास्ता खोल दिया। अब ये हम सबका दायित्व है, हम सबका सामूहिक दायित्व है। We give back to society. We contribute to nation building. And that contribution can be in many ways. Whether you become an entrepreneur, whether you come up with new ideas, whether you work in government, you work in the private sector. I would also say, whether you work in public life, in politics. I would love to see some of you becoming active politicians. Because जब तक राजनीति में भी पढ़े लिखे होनहार युवा युवती नहीं आएंगे, तो राजनीति भी हम परिवर्तित नहीं कर पाएंगे। और राजनीति एक माध्यम है देश को सुधारने का, देश को आगे लेके जाने का। और मैं तो आप सबको इनवाइट करूंगा कि आप सोचिए, विचार करिए कि कैसे अपने काम के साथ साथ सामाजिक दृष्टिकोण भी जो भारतीय विद्यापीठ में उजागर किया जाता है, उसको भी हम मद्देनजर रखें, उसको सामने रखते हुए नए आइडियाज को बाहर लाएं। मेरा विश्वास है आपका एलुमनाई एसोसिएशन होगा, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स, आज के दिन मुझे बताया गया कि 3 लाख विद्यार्थी अलग अलग संस्थाओं में पढ़ रहे हैं, तो एलुमनाई तो और बड़ी संख्या में होंगे। मैं समझता हूँ उन एलुमनाइज को भी इन्वॉल्व किया जाए, उन एलुमनाइज को भी देखा जाए कैसे वो भी, चाहे वो शिक्षा प्रदान करने की बात हो, आजकल तो हाइब्रिड एजुकेशन से हम अच्छी क्वालिटी की एजुकेशन गांव-गांव तक लेके जा सकते हैं। क्या उसमें हमारे एलुमनाई, हमारे आज के ग्रेजुएट्स जो कल से एलुमनाई बनेंगे, इन सब का भी योगदान हो सकता है? किस तरीके से हम देश के हर युवा युवती को, हर परिवार को एक मौका तो दें, एक संभावनाएं तो दें, एक भविष्य में उमंग और उत्साह का एक मौका तो दें। हर व्यक्ति चाहता है कि उसका घर और अच्छा हो और बड़ा हो, उसके जीवन में प्रगति हो। और मैं समझता हूं we are all lucky that we got good upbringing, good education, but it's equally our duty to give back. I am reminded of a speech that Steve Jobs had given in 2005, in the initial days when Apple was just finding roots. And I quote, he said, "It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have dormitory room, so I slept on the floor in a friend's room. I would walk miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal at the Hare Krishna temple." Now, if Steve Jobs also could draw inspiration from the Indian ethos, I'm also told he came and spent some years in the Himalayas. If world leaders today are looking up to India, not only for the large opportunities that India gives, but also for the leadership that India is providing in different fields, be it skilled labor, be it education, be it health, the geopolitical importance that India today has, in every respect, each one of us in this room is fortunate to be living today. It is here and now that we can make a difference to the world. And friends, we'll always have easy choices, but I would urge you to take the hard choices of life. Leave behind a lasting legacy like Dr. Kadam. Each one of us should be remembered for our contribution to nation building. I don't know if you've heard that famous little play on words. या तो भाग लो या भाग लो, या हिंदी में बोलते हैं कट लो, कई लोग बोलते हैं. Either you participate or you run away. And in participation, if you look at the longer form of bhag, B-H-A-G, it is big, hairy, audacious goals. And I would urge each one of you, bhag lo. Take on the challenges of life. Pick up some big goals in life. Go in for what is not the norm. And I have no doubt that the grooming that each one of you has got at the Bharati Vidyapeeth will help you excel in your chosen field. Your practical experiences will hold you in good stead. The digital tools that you're all familiar with will help you innovate, will help you contribute. The liberal education that is today available, particularly since Dr. Gokhale spoke about the new education policy, I'm not delving on that. But we don't want the ranchos of the world to suffer. And we don't want the photographers of the world to be forced to become engineers. Every Madhavan in the Three Idiots who wanted to be a photographer should be allowed to choose to become a photographer and an eminent photographer. And every Amir Khan, desirous of quality education, should not impersonate, but should be given an opportunity to study. And I think the new National Education Policy 2020 provides that opportunity for each one of us, provides each one of us the enthusiasm, the encouragement to experiment, to look at new ideas, to go beyond the beaten path. I urge each one of you to make a mark in the future of our wonderful nation. I compliment you, all the award winners, all the gold medalists. I was reminded of my own convocation when I did chartered accountancy. It's a very exhilarating feeling. Some of you missed it due to COVID, but I'm glad you were able to come here and enjoy the convocation ceremony. I'm sure you'll all be going out and flinging your hats to celebrate this wonderful occasion. Congratulations once again. God bless all of you. Do well in life.
धन्यवाद सर. यानंतर कुलसचिव माननीय कुलपतींना पदवी प्रदान समारंभ संपन्न झाल्याचं घोषित करावं अशी विनंती करतील.
Honorable Mr. Chancellor sir, may I request you to kindly declare the convocation closed.
I declare this convocation will be closed after the national anthem.
आता राष्ट्रगीतासाठी सर्वांनी उभं राहावं. सर्वांनी मिरवणूक सभा मंडपाबाहेर जाईपर्यंत उभं राहावं ही नम्र विनंती.
All should rise now for a national anthem and remain standing till the procession leaves the pandal.
जय हे जय हे जय हे
भारत माता की